It's the internet, you're busy. Let's do this. Okay, the timing could have been a little bit better there, but that was pretty good. This is the Analog Super NT. Analog is a boutique, I think that's the right word, classic hardware manufacturer. They are most well known for the Analog NT, which was that like $450, maybe $500 NES emulator. It's not an emulator. It was basically what they were doing with the Analog NT is they were taking actual NES hardware, stuffing it in these really great bodies, and adding in HDMI conversion. What they did later, though, and that's what they've done with the Super NT, is I should look this up. I think it's FPGA. Super NT FPGA. That's right. I'll be honest. My understanding of how FPGA works is, as far as I'm concerned, it's fucking magic. All right. So it stands for Field Programmable Gate Array. Essentially, it's a chip board that, depending on the software firmware that you attach to it, or the, not software, but the firmware you attach to it, it can treat the board differently. The board can, like, I don't know, send its ones and zeros in specific ways to exactly hardware replicate other pieces of hardware. So this is not emulation. With the Analog NT, it wasn't emulation, it was the NES. With the Super NT, it's a Super Nintendo, and it's not emulating anything. It is just Super Nintendo hardware inside of there, essentially. They're able to do this because they have, but by all accounts, an absolute genius engineer working on this, who goes by Kevtress online, Kevin Horton. If you get a chance, look up some Kevin Horton videos. I think he's got a couple on YouTube. I think you can just Google Kevtrice, Kevtrice. The dude is brilliant. He's been working on this stuff for a long time. He still has this thing in his mind where he's going to take the FPGA, and as it gets more powerful, and build one board that can emulate everything, like up to and through like the PlayStation 1, I think, or maybe not, maybe before that. I don't know. Either way, it's incredible. Point is that this is what we have right here in front of us. Let's you know what? And actually, I want to go to the different input because then I don't get any lag, and that's important because there is zero lag with this. That is one of the big things about what the Super NT is capable of. So if you got any other sort of emulated Super Nintendo hardware with HDMI, like a Retron, or even a Super Nintendo Classic Edition, there is going to be some lag because the emulation takes time. Sort of pretending to be a Super Nintendo in software takes, there's some calculations happening there that were built on top of the calculations of the games themselves. With the Super NT, none of that is a problem. It's just running the software as it was always intended to. So it's a zero lag, and then on top of that, they have built in all kinds of powerful settings so you can get exactly the experience you want. In addition, they've also included 2 games, Super Turrican Director's Cut. This is the first time this game's ever been released. Previously, there was Super Turrican, but it was a downgraded version of what Factor 5, the developer, intended. They wanted Super Turrican to be much bigger and run on huge carts, and these carts were either prohibitively expensive at the time, or they didn't even exist at that point. I think they got delayed, and so they couldn't release the game as intended. Now it is out as intended. We'll take a look at it here in a second. But first, I got a couple of random games here. Most of my Super Nintendo games are back in Ohio, so I won't have those to play here. But I've got a handful. And I just started with like a random one. Here is Ken Griffey's Winning Run. I'm just going to hit Y. It's a boot. And you see it'll take a second, and it just goes right into it. Now, once we get into the settings, we can look into this. So it is HDMI. It's going to work with all your modern displays. Works just fine. Actually, I should make sure that the volume is down on this There we go. Okay. And, you know, the idea here is to put out a high-definition signal that will look good on a modern display. So what you could do is, a lot of times, if you have a Super Nintendo and you want to play it and you want it to look good, what you could do is you have a couple options. You can connect it to a classic CRT, or, you know, yeah, or one of these private video monitors or whatever, personal video monitors. That, you know, these are really great ways of viewing standard definition content. Or you could try to get an adapter, or you can plug in like a component cable into a more modern TV. They still have component cables a lot of times. And when you do that, it ends up looking terrible. So you could have these big, heavy CRTs that are 60, 70 pounds sitting in your, you know, off the side of the room that you only ever use for classic video gaming. Or you can make some visual sacrifices. Or you can go ahead and get a Super NES Classic and hack that open, put whatever games you want on there. But you are still emulating things on a Super Nintendo Classic. And that means that it's not perfect. For example, like Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island doesn't look exactly right. There are some effects missing. It's pretty close, though. But the thing is, this system is going to do it all perfect. On this video, I'm not going to really do a ton of comparisons. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of that stuff out there for people that are even much more intimately familiar with the Super Nintendo hardware than I am. What I'm going to go over here is just sort of what you're getting, what the possibilities and the settings, and just kind of dive into these menus and show you what this thing is capable of. First, let's just kind of get in here. I mean, no one could stop this, as the good Ken Griffey has always said. It'll be a challenge. Let's do it. So yeah, Colorado Rockies. Is that you're just gonna default on that? That's where I'm at right now. Yeah, give me. Oh no. Sure, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna hit. So this is this works on both the Super Nintendo Classic and the Super NT. And I use the 8-bit DOE on both. I'm not sure if this comes with every Super NT because it has the regular Super Nintendo ports on the front. So you could just use your regular Super Nintendo controller if you want. But I've been using the 8-bit DOE. They sent this one, and it works really well. And then if you hit down and select, the menu comes up. So now this menu is excellent. I think there's a lot of. The menu. The settings inside of here. All the stuff you could do is really great. It's really powerful stuff. The menus themselves, actually, Phil Fish designed these menus. He designed the fonts, I believe, and he, designed like what they look like and how they work. And he's like, I wanted to make them really simple. And yeah, I wrote a story on that. You could check that out, like exactly what he was thinking here. But yeah, it's very cool to know that. But like, you can, at any time you hit down and select, you can go into the settings and just hit Y to confirm. And now we have video, audio, system, about, save, clear settings. So let's go ahead. Let's just start at video. Resolution's the first thing here. And you can see it supports just everything you could want. 480p 60, so you can like get that original signal if you want. 720p 60, 1080p 60, and then it can also support some PAL, some PAL standards. 576, p50. So it's 50 frames per second and the 576 lines of horizontal resolution, and then it does 720 and 1080. Yeah, you can change these at any time. I'm not going to change them right now because, caution, changing resolution might cause game to crash. And down here, it tells you your monitor supports these settings. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool. It just knows. Width and height. So, I've kind of messed around with this a little bit. But at any time, you can mess around with, how much of the visual field of your display the game takes up. So, I think at default, it's not going to quite take up most of, it's not going to go all the way to the top and bottom, even at 1080p. I think there's just, the way the game's render, that's just now how it's going to work. But at any time, you can cycle through, these defaults for width by hitting start. These are all the presets. And you can see, you can make it as wide as the display. You can like do 3x, and like that's just 3x of like what the natural pixel count is for the game. I think I had it on, let's see, 4x3 for 16:9. I think this is what I had it on. And then like you can mess around with the horizontal position, the height, and the vertical position. Yeah, and this is actually something I dove into because I'm like, I think I do want it to take up more of the display. And the reason that's kind of cool is because you can go down to scalars, and I have it on HQ3X, like 2D scaling, especially 2D pixel scaling. There's some really impressive scaling options out there, some really smart algorithms, and they built them all into here. So you can do no scalar, and this is just how the game would render. But you can see like it's getting a little bit more crisp as you go through and do like HQ4X and HQ3X. These are just like algorithms that the system is now running the game through to take the pixel data and to maybe smooth it out a little bit. You can do something like scale 3x, and you can see it start to really get smudged out. It's not like smooth anymore. It's getting smudged out. I mean, there's some appeal there, but you can also do this X-ray, which is actually pretty cool looking. I'm not sure what the point is here, but maybe it's just the outline of each sprite. I don't know. Let's go back to 3x. I think that's a good middle ground. You could try the no scaler later. And then there's cropping. You can crop the image however you want. Not sure. Ooh, crop bottom. Yeah, you can see it's just like taking off the bottom down there. And scan lines. You got to have your scan lines. This is you just have these two settings, basically normal scan lines and hybrid. But at any time, you can also go down to scan line depth and just really affect that, just to see how different it can look. And see, now you can see like they're very thin. We can come back here. Yeah, there's a bit more definition as you do these things. Do hybrid scan lines. And I don't know, sometimes I'll be in a scan line mood. Most of the time, though, I just play without. No scan lines, just give me those pixels. You can also do gamma boost, which I think is actually pretty useful for Super Nintendo, I think. The games render pretty darkly. You do the gamma boost, it really helps the image. Then there's extra features, 64 sprite tiles, mode 5 and 6 interlace disabled. Pseudo high-res blending, blend pseudo high-res modes for proper transparency. Disables interlace except for high-res modes. More sprites can be shown at one time. These are just bonuses that they built into the system because they had the power to do so. Then there's buffer mode. You can do fully buffered, zero delay, single buffer. The system speed is adjusted to provide zero lag input, and that's like, okay, that's pretty cool. Original speed, but no tearing, but more lag. So you can see like there's give and take here, but with the zero delay, I actually haven't seen any tearing. So if I do start to see that, maybe we'll try some of these other ones. But again, just a ton of options here. And then there's advanced mode. You can turn some stuff off if you don't want to deal with it. Hit advanced mode, and you get those things back. Down in audio, we could do minus 3 decibel output cut. I don't know. These are just things that I think to improve the overall sound of the game. Cartridge audio enable. I think some games have audio chips built into them. I'm not sure which ones. I can't remember. But some of them do, and this would enable those. And then you could swap the left and right stereo channels. System. So menu options. There are different skins you can add. This is like the classic look. So this is like, you look at the buttons on the bottom left there. They have the purple look. I'm actually using a Super Famicom style controller with the colored buttons, and I have the Super Famicom colors on the analog itself. And so, like, I actually went to the Super Famicom option so that everything's color coordinated, and looks right. But you have the two options here. I think, we can get into that in a little bit. Highlight style. There's solid, swipe, flash. You see it flashes as I'm going through. We can do throb. And then rolling. Whoa, I kind of like that. Yeah, let's go with rolling for a while. Highlight color. I've got on red. Kind of like, I might do blue, maybe white. No, let's do magenta. Switch these things up. There's also these two fonts as well. I think so I was like, this is the original font. So let's just back up. This is what the menu typically looks like if you first boot it up. It's gonna have this very skinny font. I like it, but I think it's a bit hard to like read at a glance. So I went with the alternate font, which is a lot bolder. And then I think uppercase only is what is on no matter what, or is on by default as well. I almost find it kind of like this without the uppercase here. That kind of looks cool. All right, let's go with that for a while. And then there's menu bounce. You can turn that off or on. I think if it's, yeah, you can see how it bounces in. I think let's turn that off. No, yeah, it sort of slides in. Yeah, you can see it has a little jump to it. I almost kind of like it just sliding in. Yeah, that's really cool. Not enough screen shake though. They need more screen shake. What are you doing, Phil? Dim game in menu. You can hit that. I think it makes it a little bit easier to read the menu, but now we can see just the game itself really well. So let's turn that off for a little bit. All right, go through controls and hotkeys. You could just there's all kinds of hotkeys options you could set. The hotkey. Okay, so this is like down and select to get to this menu. So that's very useful. Menu. Okay, no, menu hotkey. Oh, okay, so that's the reset hotkey. Oh, okay, I just put two and two together. So if I hit up and okay, it's gonna reset the game now. Very cool. I didn't know that. Let's confirm select key. Yeah, that's Y. Okay, that's fine. And then B to go back. Yeah, I've gotten used to that. Wow, Rare did this game? I completely forgot that. Startup options. So maybe we could do this again. I want to confirm that. I want to do a very short. Let's do 0. Let's see what happens. And you can have it go directly from the title to the menu or into the cartridge, or you could skip the title and go menu direct or cartridge direct. I really like the title boot up sequence, so we're gonna stick with that. Let's turn the system off, and then I'm gonna turn it back on just so we can see that opening title scroll again. There we go. So this is different each time. I don't think there's not like infinite options or infinite variations on the opening. But I think there are 32 different opening sequences there. So it stays very fresh and cool. That music's also very good. I really like that. So let's get back into the settings. Actually, let's bring in another one of these games. Oop, I hit the wrong button. Okay, well, we can see that another one of the intro sequences. There's also this really cool LED light on the front of the Super NT that I like a lot. Yeah, that's just really cool. All right. So let's run cartridge. And then while that's happening in the background, settings, go back to system. Yeah, the sequence, the boot delay thing, I feel like it won't take. I wonder if we have to save settings. Save settings, yes. Alright, and then go back in the system. What else do we have here? Yeah, you can affect the region, and then there's LED options. So there's this LED on front. I have it set to K Pro Rainbow, so this is it's just like slowly cycling through the various colors. You can download and load custom patterns, and I think you can adjust the pattern yourself. I'm gonna turn this up, and I just want to see for myself. Oh yeah, that's really fast. Pattern position. I'm not sure what that's gonna mean. It's probably just gonna affect like where it starts or whatever. But yeah, like so. Oh wow. Okay, so center pixel. So I think it's gonna change the color of the LED will change depending on what the center pixel of the game you're playing is. That's pretty cool. I like that. But then you can just change it to the Super Famicom colors, and now it's scrolling quickly through yellow, green, blue, and red. And then classic. So it's just yeah. So this is the classic Super Nintendo colors of like white, grayish, and purple. And then standby color is just white. Or I think you can change that. But let's go center pixel. That's pretty neat. I like that idea. And then there's, the special thanks and licensing. So, yeah, Analogue Inc. is based in Seattle, Washington. Christopher Tabor is the guy that basically started the company, and he works with Ernest Dorazio and Chris Wiggin. And then right here, electrical engineering software development done by Kevin Horton. That's Keptris. Yeah, and they really just kind of did some incredible stuff here. You can see in the special thanks, 8-Bit Dough. They definitely worked with them on these controllers. Trying to see if there's anyone else to name that stands out here. Oh, Square Pusher. Square Pusher does the intro music. You can see Phil Fish right there. Yeah, and then we had the save and clear. These are just the save settings or restore factory defaults. Okay, let's check out Super Turrican Director's Cut. Factor 5, man. I think I heard they were getting back into games. I think what they do right now is they just like work on apps for other companies. I think they are the ones that brought the Hulu app to Switch, so they do that kind of work, like porting apps to other platforms. Mostly harmless. Like they're pretty good at like porting technologies, I guess, and that's why they're good at that. So, yeah, I mean, this is still very much a Super Nintendo game. You know what? Let's go video. Let's turn off the scalars. Disable H interpolation. Huh. I think that like makes it even more pixely, and I'm kind of digging it. So yeah, I'm getting a lot of audio delay, and I think that's just my thing here. I wonder if I'm going to move this. Add devices video. Probably didn't need to do that. Probably could have just gone into the sources here. Ooh, that's loud. Okay, there we go. So I think I might have had some audio delay there on the menus or whatever, but this is fine. Okay, this is much better. So I'm gonna go back to this other input so I can look at it direct. So yeah, this is, I mean, like I said, still very much a Super Nintendo game. There we But so I guess but they wanted to add in a bunch of effects and stuff, and a lot of scrolling options, and it was going to be so intense. It was going to need like I think a 32 megabit cart, and that just wasn't an option back then. If it was too expensive. This game is pretty nuts. Super Turrican was always pretty cool, but now it's kind of neat to play this this unreleased version of it, this new version, like the real version, finally. Man, I like that. I never really got the hang of it because it just seemed like so power up crazy. This is the very beginning of the game. I'm already got a million things here. Yeah, eat it, eat it. Leaves were going to hurt me. For some reason that didn't look like a pit I could fall into. It felt like I was going to go behind it. But yeah, I guess there's no ground there, huh? Man, look at those effects. The lightning happening. So yeah, I think this is a nice bonus that they just sort of added this into they built it right into the system direct. You don't have to download it or install it or anything. It's not like it's on a you don't have to go online and get it from a resource and then install it with an SD card. It's just built directly into the hardware. That's great. I think the thing is to keep in mind though is that this system definitely seems like it is for, at least for now, for people who have a lot of Super Nintendo games. And you want you want a no compromise experience with those games. If that's you, I think this kind of have to have this thing. There are Frame Meisters, or maybe there's a couple of things that are slightly better than Frame Meister to take a Super Nintendo signal and process it for HD screens. With no lag. There are ways to do that. But I think that this system, from what I could tell, those things seem complicated and finicky. This thing is it just works. It works really well. The menus are simple to use. You can see how they affect the game in real time. This is, it's made for a Western audience, so you can. I think the Frame Meister, for example, I think is built with Japanese as its default language, and a lot of the menus are kind of difficult to read and make sense of, or the options you don't really know what they're going to do. Here, it's all built in. It's all very plainly labeled, and you could see what it's doing to the game in real time, and at any time it's easy to go back to the default. It's pretty awesome for that. I will say that I've already gotten one firmware update from Analogue in my email. I downloaded, installed it. It added a lot of these options to the settings and to improve the video. I'm doing better than I usually do in this game. Yeah, give me that booty. Oh damn it! Should have used that thing to jump up there. Come here. Curses! Oh man. Some gefilte fish. Oh, okay. Yeah, there I go. That's normally what I'm like. So I'll say that, with the Analogue NT, Kevin Horton, Kevtris, released an unofficial firmware online. I think on his Atari Ages forum, which is where he does most of his work. And he enabled it so you could install ROMs onto, well, not install, but you could add ROMs onto an SD card, pop it into the system, and with this new firmware, play those games. And this thing also has an SD slot. That's how you update the firmware. You just put it on the SD card, you pop it in there, you run through, you power it on with the SD card in, and it automatically runs through the update. It's very, very simple. But that leaves the door open for another special firmware. And with the Analogue NT, Kevin Horton didn't just like enable ROMs, he enabled you to add new firmwares to the FPGA board inside of the Analogue NT. And what this did was you could start emulating other systems using the same FPGA board. And all the data was on there, so you could do kind of whatever. This is a more powerful FPGA board, so now it seems like he's going to have a little bit more power to play with, and if he does the same thing, releasing the firmwares, yeah, that could be really awesome. It's not available yet. It's something that's going to happen down the road, maybe. I'm sort of counting on it, but we'll see. For now, though, I think the system absolutely is, yes, this is for people that have a lot of Super Nintendo physical carts. Like that is, this is something you should be considering. If that's you and you want to, if you sort of maybe want to put away the 4x3 screen, if you want to put away your giant CRT and move on, this is going to be the way to do it. Maybe better than anything else, short of some of those newer FrameMeister alternatives. And yeah, you get Super Turrican Director's Cut. I'm sure the ROM will be online eventually, but for now, this is the only way to get it. Yeah. And of course, there's Super Turrican 2 as well. You can see it loading down there. Man, they updated that Factor 5 splash screen. What are the options here? Difficulty. Let's make it easy. Make it easy for me. Oh, he's coming right at me. Sound mode, surround, stereo. Man, it's got surround sound. All right, let's do this. Yeah, man, Factor 5 was always really good with Nintendo hardware. Could really push it far. Actually, they're the ones that did the Indiana Jones game, too, that I was playing earlier. That Indiana Jones game had some of the best, like, still pixel art on the Super Nintendo. It looked really good. In fact, we should just go play that. Let's just put that on. I like this game. This Indiana Jones game. It's very good. It's Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures. It's like, yeah, it is totally greatest hits. Like, it starts with the Juvitos, or Juvitos? Something like that. And then, like, with the game over screen is still, like, Henry Jones Sr. Yeah, look at that. A LucasArts production. That's pixely as hell, but I love it. Wonder if we can... turn on H interpolation. Scale. Let's go all the way up to this scale 3x. You can see, like, how it tries to smooth it out a ton. You can see, like, the pixels are no longer exclusively blocky. They have softer edges. The Jovitos are near, senor. All right, yeah, go back. Yeah. Look at that boy. Yeah, I don't know. This is pretty cool looking. I don't know. It feels like it must. This cart must have some extra stuff in there, because I feel like this is doing colors that the Super Nintendo never did before. They didn't really do much with the sound, though, did they? They're just like, whatever. The animation, though. Also, Indy's got a bit of a Princess Peach jump with his, like, floating here. Just for a second. Man. Took me a long time, though, to realize you can do this roll right there. Ah, spiders. Indy hates snakes. I hate spiders. Yeah, but I mean, this is just like, yeah, this is the best way to play these games now. I think maybe most people are going to be completely fine with emulators still, but I think for the discerning classic retro gamer out there, there might not be a better way. Man, I'm just realizing Factor 5 and these pickups look exactly like they do in Super Turrican, just a little bit smaller. It's just like the default Factor 5 power-up or pickup or whatever. Well, at least let me get through this level. Don't blow dart me, dude. Don't blow dart me, bro. Oh, shit. Run. Yeah, man, that's just like the Super Turrican pickups. Fuck spiders. Actually, don't fuck them. They're bad. Don't give them the pleasure. Also, you can get back here. That doesn't really do anything. Oh, man. That's so cheap. Yeah, dog. Oh, spiders! Damn it. Come on, give me a heart. Yeah, I did it. Now let's kill some Nazis. Actually, no. We're at this next part where I'm not very good at. Look at that, though. That looks pretty good. Factor 5, come back to gaming. Please. Make some more games. Make this game again. Right now. Get Kathleen Kennedy on the phone. Say, hey, I'm going to do this. Let's go. Alright, so they didn't do the music, but they got the voices or whatever. Oh, man, that's bullshit. Oh my god, come on! What am I supposed to do there? I'm like holding right.
Let's go.
I'm gonna throw a grenade at it. Bullshit! Cheap ass game. Fuck you, Factor 5. Keep making Hulu. Hulu ass bitches. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep doing this. I wish the game could like render out a little bit further ahead. I wish they could. That's something. Oh God! Why? Just that one little thing I went back for. All right, last chance, last try. Punch. Why wouldn't you get a head start on Solo? I'm the one that did the Indiana Jones cave run in less than 12 parsecs. Look, chill out, Sean Connery. All right, that's gonna do it for me. That's the Super NT. I got some other stuff here. I got like Mortal Kombat and Daffy Duck or whatever, but So yeah, Super NT, very cool. I like it a lot. I think it is worth the $190 that they're charging for it, which is kind of, I think, crazy how affordable that is after the Analogue NT was like $450, $500. It's solid hardware. It's really cool. You're not really going to do better than it if you are looking for a way to play these games exactly as they were intended, or with some of these other visual options on a modern HD screen. It's just, this is the best way to do it, I think, right now. So yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, GamesBeat.com. This was the Analogue Super NT. I'll catch you guys next time. I'll probably have more on this thing as we go along. As I do get some of those games back in my hands, I will start doing some more comparisons, especially between this and I think the Super Nintendo Classic. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you next time. Have a good one. Do 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 do.